What's up, fourth grade? What's up? Hey guys, so excited to be back here with you. This week, we are learning all about changes in animals during the seasons. So just like you and me, animals go through changes depending on what season is and what they need to do to be able to survive best. So unlike you and me, obviously we know animals do not have clothes, so they do not change their clothes. Just like during the summer, you and I might be wearing a bathing suit or tank tops and shorts, just so that we can adapt better to the environment around us. And then during the winter, we might be wearing long sleeves and jackets and gloves. So what do animals do, right, is the question. So that's what we're going to be going through today. So let's get started. The first thing I wanted to share with you guys is a small short video, rather than a small video, a short video about iguanas in Florida.
Well, here's some shocking video from Miami. It's so cold outside, the iguanas are falling out of the trees.
As NBC2's Joe Petrello shows us, the invasive lizards may look frozen to death, but you might want to keep away.
Yeah, FWC experts say when a reptile is cold stunned, it can't move due to a lack of blood flow. As temperatures continue to drop in southwest Florida, iguanas are going into survival mode.
There's been quite a few.
Charlotte Bursch lives on a canal in the Cape. She says iguanas frequently sunbathe on her seawall.
It seems like they find an area on the seawall where it's really, the sun's hitting it, and then they'll lay there like, you know, they're tanning.
But the iguanas in our communities may soon not be able to move at all. FWC experts tell us when temperatures reach 40 degrees, they lose blood flow and can become immobile. This video out of Miami today shows someone carrying a cold-stunned iguana that had fallen from a tree.
They don't actually come into the yard, they stay around the water.
Experts say iguanas are overpopulated in southwest Florida for reproducing at an alarming rate.
Where I mostly see them is right around the mangrove areas. When they start going into the water, you'll see them sometimes skirting in there.
FWC does not believe the cold weather will last long enough to kill a significant amount of our iguana population. Once they warm up, the reptiles will start moving again. And so far, no one has reported a cold-stunned reptile to FWC. Experts recommend not trying to warm them back up because they could eventually get scared and harm you. Live in the studio, Joe Petrello, NBC2.
So how crazy that that's actually happening in Florida, right? So how do animals prepare for the winter? How do animals prepare for these types of changes? And if changes happen, how do the animals adapt to it? You know, iguanas are not taught that you might be cold stunned one day, right? So how do animals learn from this and then adapt? All right, so seasonal changes in Florida's plants and animals. How do adaptations help organisms to survive? So we see some different things going on here. Mostly, right, a lot of hidden animals. So it's hard to actually see the animals within their environment. A moth here. See if you can find the animal in this picture down here in the middle. We'll talk about this on Wednesday. So very cool. So here we go, structural and behavioral adaptations. All organisms have adaptations that help them to survive in various environments and with the changes of seasons throughout the year. Some adaptations are structural while some are behavioral. Structural adaptations are physical features. So these are your body parts that actually help an organism to live, such as a bird having a beak. They're born with this beak and they eat with this beak and they use this beak to help it survive. So behavioral are the things that organisms do to survive. So bird calls and migrations, these are different things that animals learn or behave in a different way to help them to survive. So two types, behavioral and structural. Here's something else that we talked about up top here, the qualities that an organism inherits from their parents. Organisms have characteristics called adaptations that they inherit in order to survive. So once again, talking about structural, something that they're born with, something that they have. Behavioral, something that they've adapted from their parents or have gotten from their parents, but it's more of a way of acting. So what are some plant adaptations? Plants adaptations allow them to live in specific environments and through specific seasons. Some adaptations are only helpful because of the environment in which a plant lives. So talking about here with this plant adaptation, and I will go ahead and link this as well so that you guys can kind of dig deeper into it. But plants have adapted to live in their own environment, like lily pads that live in the water, right? Being able to float, being able to still get sun. Plants that live in the desert. So talking about your cacti, talking about your succulents, they don't need much water. Think about how much water is in the desert. So these plants have to be able to live off of very little water to continue to live and continue to reproduce. Once again, like I said, I will add this link here so that you guys can see that. So for food and water, plants learn or lean towards the sun. So they actually grow towards it. It's so cool to actually see. And let me get out of here because I like it having a certain way so you guys can see the whole screen. All right. Roots grow down into the soil. Vines climb up trees to catch sunlight. Plants like the Venus flytrap trap insects for food. So very cool if you've ever seen one of these. Leaves and stems absorb energy from the sun, which then creates their food called photosynthesis. Small leaves or spines on desert plants conserve water. Conserve meaning that they use little water. Thick, waxy skin holds in the water. Roots near the soil surface soak up rain quickly before it evaporates. So these plants have more roots on the top of the ground rather than in the ground so that they can absorb and collect that water that is on the ground level. Desert flowers can stay dormant for months, only coming to life when it rains. Spines and thorns protect plants from their predators. So two different adaptations here. Desert flowers, they stay dormant, meaning that they're not really living, right? They're not reproducing, but when it rains, they almost like pop back to life. So what are some animal adaptations? Like plants, animal adaptations allow them to live in specific environments. Some adaptations are only helpful because of the environment in which a plant or animal lives in. Let's take a camel, for example. So a camel has its hump on its back, which stores fat because you don't find much food or trees or bark in the deserts. So the camel actually has to collect that fat so that it can eat it over time. I will also tie this link in here. Just like the plants, this takes you through the animals. So changing with seasons. Parts of Ohio are covered by forest, and winters can be very cold. States like Colorado, where the Rocky Mountains are, have cold winters with lots of snow. Down here, winters in Florida are mild. It rarely snows and temperatures are cool. And then parts of Texas have mild winters with little or no snow and cool temperatures. So this is all talking about winter, but look at the different pictures, right? So how do we change? How do animals adapt during that time? Ecosystems differ from state to state due to changes of seasons. Trees from a deciduous forest in Florida adapt differently than trees from a deciduous forest in California. So looking at the two and deciding, well, which one is which, right? And how do they adapt? What are some examples of adaptations to seasonal changes? So we have changes of color and dropping of tree leaves. We have animal migration, meaning that they're moving to a different part of the United States so that they can live and survive easier in their climate. We have camouflage, so that owl you can barely see, keeping them protected. And then animal hibernation, going into a deep, deep sleep. They don't need to eat during this time, and it's almost like a vacation in a way. They go and they hibernate, they sleep, they do not need to eat, and they are protected from their predators. Dormancy is another example, and dormancy is, once again, just like we talked about the plants. In the desert, they almost go inactive, meaning that they don't need anything to survive. So environmental and biological triggers that initiate an organism's response to seasonal change in Florida and other regions. So the preying of one animal on others, the predation, talking about when animals are hunting or preying on other animals. So an owl trying to eat a mouse. You also have the climate. Climate is how that environment is over many years. disease. So disease is something that can eat other things. When a plant has a disease, it will literally eat itself until it is no longer living. So these are ways that animals and plants can die off depending on biological or environmental triggers that will affect the region that they are in. So we also have light. So during the summer, you have more light, meaning that there's going to be more green, there's going to be more things growing. But during the winter, you may have different areas that get less sun that are going to cause more plants to be dormant or not grow. Temperature, right? So we've talked about turtles here. They're almost sunbathing. So depending on where they're located, if it is cooler or hotter, depending on what their behavioral is going to be. And the availability of food. So thinking about if a population of squirrels is being hunted, that means that there's going to be less squirrels for a fox to eat. That fox may need to go to a different area, or it may need to start eating on another type of prey. So how do we harm the environment? We pollute our water, we have air pollution, we have land pollution, and we have ocean pollution. So all these different ways that we might actually be hurting our environment, thinking about if you're littering, thinking about what you're throwing into the water, thinking about how much water you're using on a daily cycle, all of this can affect our animals and can affect us as well. But how can we actually help our environment? Reclamation, preservation, recycling, right? So reusing, reducing, recycling. All of this can help us be able to survive longer and have a better environment for us to live in. So let's review. Why do animals need to adapt? We need to be able to live in different environments during different seasons. For animals, adaptation is a matter of life or death. If animals don't adapt in certain ways to their surroundings, they will not survive. So what do animals and plants need in order to survive? In order for plants and animals to survive, they must have structures, behaviors in psychology or physiology that meet the requirements of their environment. So what is an example? For plants to survive in deserts, they must have ways to get their water and other nutrients from their surroundings. Cactus have spines and or thick waxy leaves. What are some other examples? So some other examples, just like this, is which bird can crush and pick up the most seeds. So talking about if I have a thick beak or a heavy beak or a small beak or a large beak or a beak that can hold water. So talking about those different things that birds may have and how they all look different. We can actually dig deeper into this when we meet together and talk about the different sizes. We'll do something with this and collect our data. So giant pandas live in mountain forests of China and eat mostly bamboo. The giant panda has a 6th finger, while other bears have only 5. The 6th finger is a large wrist bone that giant pandas are able to bend and use as a thumb. The picture below shows the paw of a giant panda with 6 fingers and the paw of another bear with 5 fingers. So which of the following statement best explains why the 6th finger helps the giant panda survive in its environment? It helps the giant panda hold the bamboo stalks that it feeds on. It helps the giant panda crush the bamboo stalks before it eats them. It allows the giant panda to dig in the mountain forest to hide its food. Or D, it allows the giant panda to climb to the tops of mountain forests to find food. Yeah, there's maybe 2 answers here, but the best answer, right? The best answer, knowing that it has to be able to, and it says the 6th finger is a large wrist bone that giant pandas are able to bend and use as a thumb. So what would we need to use our thumb for? I want you to think of the answer. We'll talk about this right when we do the beaks as well. So I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger. I will be able to tell if you watch this or not by if you are on a cliffhanger and you cannot survive because you have to know the answer. So we will meet back up and talk about that. You guys are awesome. You know this. I'm so excited to work with you next year and continuing this year. And I hope that you are prepped for summer. It's going to go quick. It's going to be fun. We're going to go on field trips. So be talking to your parents about that. I'm going to send out some more information and I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.